fine looking units sitting out there in the field this morning. I like to see them all sitting there full like that. I love this time of year. It's quite nice. Okay, we're rolling for the morning. Hopefully we don't blow any tires or get in too bad a road construction. But about an hour down, hour back, and hope there's no line in between. Now that's what I like to see. No line at all. Not a single truck. Okay, so we're dumping on dump 2 today, which dump 2 goes straight on a conveyor, which is that conveyor there, and it looks like they're loading a barge right now, so it's pretty neat to see. The beans aren't even going in the bin, they're going straight on a boat, floating down to the Mississippi probably, and getting shipped to who knows where. I know China's been buying beans like crazy, so they may be loaded up on a cargo ship and go halfway across the country, which is not halfway across the country, halfway across the world, which is pretty neat to think about. Growing beans that are going everywhere. So these bins right there, which won't even fit in the frame of the camera, but there's 2 of them. I believe they're 1,000,000 bushels a piece, which is quite a few semi-loads. Probably more semi-loads than I'll ever bring down here. All right, let's see what we got here. 882 bushel. That's pretty good. I'll take it. It's a shame I didn't just jump off the interstate. Would have been a lot quicker that way. I might do it by the end of the day, I don't know. So, we'll get these 2 dumped, and that'll pretty much fill the semi again. And we'll jump right back on and make another 2-hour drive, round trip, and yeah, good times. Even if I had another person to drive the semi right now, they wouldn't be back in time. Everything would be full anyhow, so this is where having a 1,000 bushel grain cart and a guy to drive a semi would be really, really handy. It's a pretty full cart load. Get her dumped. Down. I think there might be a couple wet beans in this cart, so try and spread them out on the bottom of the truck. Not that I'm trying to sneak any wet beans to the elevator, but some of the Endros were a little bit sticky last night. They're about 13% on average, but some of these are a little more than 13%. That's why we're dumping the cart first. The next grain cart will be at least 1,000 bushel, and it's going to have one of those adjustable spouts, because I've ran a cart that had one of those before, and after knowing how nice they are, I really, really want one for this, which I could put it on this cart, but they're expensive, and I really don't want to spend the money on it because this cart's small. Just really like to have a bigger cart. Yep, well, I forgot to shut my battery shut off last night, so combine's dead. Dead batteries. They grow better than soybeans around here. Okay, well, I made my stupid deed of the day. The battery wasn't dead. The hydrostat lever was not in neutral, and that combine's got a safety where it won't start if it's gonna move. Thought, man, it's odd, it's been sitting here with jumper cables on it. It's not even trying to turn over. Sure enough, moved the stick, turned the key, thing fired right up. So it wasn't even dead. Here I've wasted 15 minutes, but I got it greased and halfway blown off while I was sitting there waiting on it. So got something done at least. It definitely wouldn't kill me to clean my windows. Probably need to do that before I really get rolling. They're dirty. But man, that camera's nice having on there. I mean, obviously I can see what I'm doing, but I can see how full the rest of the semi-trailer is, and that's kind of nice. Got a decent start on there. I'd say half a hopper and we'll have a semi full, so I'm gonna go cut this last little bit of beans on this side of the field, and then I guess I'll have to hop back in the back field to get me enough to get started. Yeah, these are some dirty, dusty, nasty beans down here. Combine's moaning and groaning at me. It's not liking what I'm putting through it right now. I'm going pretty slow, I believe. I don't know how fast I'm going. 2 miles an hour. They're dusty, they've been underwater, they're lodged, the stems are green, there's weeds in them. It's like the perfect storm for what you don't want in a bean field, but they're still yielding really good. Okay, so we got our front field all cut. Now we're crossing a sketchy culvert, hoping it doesn't bust and total the combine. We'll cross this and jump back here in this backfield and get it cut. These back here are a lot cleaner because they're not where the water gets over them. And they're making 82 bushel right now. Can we hit 90? That'd be kind of cool. No, not quite. Real close, but there we go. That's what I like to see right there. Rolling in. Doing pretty good. Once you get down in here where the water gets over the beans, they get pretty dusty. Basically, when that muddy water gets up over them, that mud's still stuck to the beans, so there's just that much more dirt and dust going through the machine. But making really, really, really good beans. I'm just grinning ear to ear cutting these things. And these have been underwater several times this year too, and they're still managing to make that. Filling the hopper right up. Well, we'll call that a load. Pretty good one on there. But when you gotta go down there 50 times a day, you make them count. Especially when you're doing your own trekking. So, that's all for now. I guess back to the elevator we go. Okay, we are tarped and ready to roll. God, it's a windy day out today. And this is all I brought for lunch and a drink all day. So I might make a gas station pit stop while we're down there. Well, we made it again. It's a shame I don't have a dump trailer. I'd take a load of gravel home. I could use some 7s and 53s about right now. Those are the 1,000,000 bushel bins I was talking about earlier. They don't look quite as big from here, but they're pretty dang big. Lots and lots of rock down here, that's for sure. Rock, sand, and grain. Barges port here and get loaded and unloaded and all sorts of fun stuff. Had to stop and grab some lunch. Got a bag of chips and a questionable gas station cheeseburger, so may need some TP here in a half hour. We'll find out. All right, we're back. 2 loads down, hopefully 1 more to go, and then fill the truck when I get back and fill the cart in the combine again. Have 2 loads ready to go in the morning as well, so that's the game plan at least. I don't know if we'll get that far. But, got my lunch ate, so grab something to drink and we'll get with it. Well, they're not real pretty out there, but they're still yielding good. Dumping the second hopper on the cart now. This should fill the cart. But I do think that they're getting a little bit wetter, which is a little bit concerning. Got that one piled up pretty good. So I tested them. They were 13.6, so not awful, but kind of thought they'd be a little bit drier than that, but that's still well within what I'm willing to cut today, especially since they're going straight to the elevator and not in a grain bin. I don't have to worry about them. So you can see these beans here, a lot of them are just laid over flat and kind of laid over, but then you look up there and they're standing just fine, and there's just enough of an incline here. This is where the water gets over them, so they're making pretty good beans still, but they are getting a little bit wetter. I'm gonna pull another sample. The last load that I took to the elevator was 14.7, so that's kind of like borderline. Anything over 15 I really don't want to take. I'll give them another day. We've got sun and wind today, so they're definitely drying, but I would like to see them just a little bit drier. But yeah, you're getting docked for that moisture, but you also have to figure you're hauling them more water than you are beans, so it weighs more, you're getting paid by the weight, so kind of all averages out, I think. But just about full again. The cart's definitely full, so we'll run the cart up there and dump it on the semi and dump this on the cart. Got another hopper and we'll have another semi load and hopefully be able to take off again. Quite the cart load on there. Could have got a little bit more on, but 25,000 is about just right for this cart if you want it completely full of beans. But go get her dumped. This field is rough. I need to do some leveling out here for sure. Honestly, for fiddle farting around trucking most of the day, I mean, it takes me an hour down there and an hour back at least. So if I get 3 truckloads down today, that's 6 hours of drive time in the semi. So really, for getting 3 cut and on the truck, not a terrible day. Dumping. About half empty. Already getting a little pile there. Thing dumps pretty quick. I like having this tractor on the cart, but it could definitely handle a bigger cart. And not only that, but I've got to tighten up the seat in this thing because it's squeaking and moaning and groaning, and it drives me nuts driving it. But I like the tractor, but the seat needs some attention. Okay, now to unload this one, cut one more hopper, and we'll have ourselves another semi-load. Well, today just went from good to bad. Really, really bad. In fact, it went so bad that I'm probably going to have to buy a new beanhead. I don't know if you can tell or not, but that auger is completely sitting like that and making a V. What happened is I got in a little patch of grass, it wrapped it, so I stopped and I ran the reverser, hadn't even plugged it yet. And when I started running the reverser, that happened. So that auger is shot. And not only is the auger shot, but I just called 3 dealerships and nobody has them in stock. So the last price on those augers, even if I do find one in stock, was $6 grand. And for $6 grand, I'd just assume buy another head. So that's a pretty crappy way to end a day, but it is what it is. I don't like it, but there's really nothing I can do about it. I mean, it happened quickly. I was just reversing it. I'm not real happy about it, but it's part of farming. It's all part of it. Well, since I can't really cut more beans right now, took the third load down for the day. It's not completely full. There's about 700 bushel in it, maybe 750 if I'm lucky. But I do have some good news. First, I'll start with the bad news. The bad news is that head's totaled. It's more expensive to replace that auger than it is to just buy a new head. So those augers are $6,000 and they're obsolete. Literally no one sells them anymore. The good news is I bought a new head for $5,500 and it'll be here first thing in the morning. It's coming all the way from Kentucky, so shout out to H&R Equipment down in Kentucky for having one on hand, and their salesman is going to bring it to me first thing in the morning. He said he'd have it here by noon. So really this is going to cost me $5,500 and about 2 hours of cutting beans. I can live with that. This kind of thing happens. I'll have this other head that's junk now, but it's still got a lot of good parts on it. So I'll have a parts head. It's got a good knife, good sickle, good reel, all that stuff. So should still be good to go. It's a pretty view out there across the Ohio River. Just fields for miles, river bottom ground across there. Maybe we'll scan, maybe we won't. All right, we're scanned, scaled in. We're gonna throw a little bit of fuel in this old girl. And then I'm gonna go check on a buddy. I had him unhook the ripper off the 7140 and hook onto the disc while I was gone. And he's disking in some washout ditches that we're gonna seed for waterways. Trying to get them leveled up some. So I'm gonna go check on him after I fuel this thing up. I also rubbed the air filter out. I'm gonna take that home and blow it out real good with the air compressor. The leaf blower will kind of blow it out, but not near as good as an air compressor will. Get some fuel in here. Need a bigger transfer tank. I just need a farm pickup in general so I can keep this thing nice and clean like it deserves to be. But I don't know, I need to find a cheap beat up 2500 single cab or something like that. It's already beat to crap because I hate tearing up a nice truck like this and trashing one. But like I said, I buy my trucks to use them. This is just an awfully nice truck to be using for what I'm using it for. It is a wee bit rough out here. I'm driving against the rows, and back in the day, which was actually the fault of this disc, back when this field was worked and worked and worked and worked, that disc would make ridges, and it was disced the same way every single time, and this field's been unlevel ever since. But you can kind of see some of the terraces right here. This is that 120 acre field I cut the other day. But he's disking in some washout ditches, and I'm gonna get some rye and some grass seed and other stuff, and we're gonna drill them sideways with the ditch. Well, we're gonna drill them up and down first, and then drill them second time sideways, and try and get as much of them to hold as we can and get some waterways started that I'm just gonna start farming around rather than trying to farm through, because they're just washing and taking topsoil every year, and it's time to put a stop to that. It's definitely dry out, no doubt about that. Using my planting tractor as a tillage tractor. Dust is hanging in the air. Get a video of him making a pass here. Got some pretty bright lights on it. They're pretty blinding. Looks like it's doing a decent job filling in ditches. That disc is a 28-foot 496 case. That tractor handles that thing like it's not even back there, so that tractor's been turned up just a little bit. So it handles tillage tools pretty good, but it lugs the planter around like it's not even back there. He's only running about half throttle right now, which is really all it needs. But it is just powdery out here. We need a rain really, really bad.
No, I didn't see the play. I didn't see where Reed got hit or whatever. But if it was up high around the head area, that's
up down
where you got to take it seriously. He looks like he's okay on the sideline, just a lot of places hurt. But he's not being checked out by anybody. So it looks like
6 miles an hour, uphill, like it's not even back there. I think we did what damage we're gonna do. It's kind of hard to see half these ditches in the dark, so we're gonna come back in the light of day and hopefully knock them out. Hopefully.